Hey, English 102 students, congratulations on completing your long research paper or on almost having it completed. Whichever the case, you've done a lot of work and encountered some unusual obstacles along the way, so you should feel proud of the work that you've done. This video is meant to help you acquaint yourself with the work that's expected over the next couple of weeks. So if you've completed your long research paper and submitted that on D2L, you have completed the vast majority of the work for the semester. Here's what's next. You have a self-appraisal to do. There's a link to a Google form on the D2L announcement that I posted yesterday. That's 10 points. And then the rest of the work is to work on the portfolio. I want you to read over the assignment, which we'll look at in a minute. I want you to watch a separate video I made on revision strategies, the things that I would be talking about in class this week and having you practice during class. You should begin revising your short research paper. There's an optional bonus point assignment that I'll talk to you about in a minute. Once you get your long essay back and graded from me, then you should start revising that as well. And finally, you'll be writing a cover letter. I wanted to talk to you though first about why we're doing a portfolio. The portfolio enables a good chunk of your grade, about 35%, to be based on writing that you've had lots of chance to improve over the course of the semester. You've heard me say before that good writers revise. Revising is a huge part of the writing process. Taking reader feedback, taking your own judgment, the benefit of having some time, using those things to make your writing even better. So the portfolio allows you to do that, and with 35% or so of your grade being based on that improvement, this is an opportunity for those of you who aren't happy with your course grades to improve those grades as well. So greet this as an opportunity to make your writing shine as much as you can. I also just want to remind you about all the resources I've put on D2L for you. The assignment, obviously, which we'll look at, the video I mentioned on revision strategies, the original assignments with the original requirements established. There's a sample cover letter for you to look at. There's plenty of information about citing, about punctuation and grammar, all kinds of things under content that I would like you to take a look at. If you know that you're struggling in a particular area, would like more background in, say, quotation sandwiches or transitions, look for the resources that I've placed for you on D2L, and we can also talk as well. Plus, of course, my feedback on your original essays. So let's go to D2L here and take a look at these assignments more specifically. First, here's the announcement that was posted this morning about the work that's left to do. Everything that we're doing is going to lead up to the portfolio. Well, first, the long research paper self-appraisal form, that's just a Google form that looks like this. It's not too long. And then once you have submitted that, everything is going to be focused on the portfolio and the revisions. So there's a portfolio assignment. There's a video that I'm making right now. There's also a video on revision strategies that's really important. It covers the things we'd be doing in class this week. You have an optional bonus point opportunity this week if you'd like to do this. This is not required. And that is to tell me in writing what your plan is for your revision. Everybody this week should begin working on your short research paper. Take it out, reread it, get reacquainted with it. It's been a while. And think about my comments and what I've asked you to revise. And then if you want to do this bonus point assignment by Friday, just submit me a list of your strengths, the things that need to stay the same in your revision, and also the areas that you should improve when you revise. List 2 or 3 very specific things, minimum. And really what I'd like you to do is make sure that you're addressing my comments. So take a look at what I've asked you to do, and this will be an opportunity to ask me any questions that you might have before you go forward. And then you should begin revising your short research paper. Once you get your long research paper back from me early next week, you'll be able to begin revising that as well. Okay, so here we are in content. Before we look at the materials I've posted under revision in the portfolio, I just want to remind you of a few other things. There's a section on grammar, proofreading, and style. There's a section on MLA citation and works cited lists. There are materials here that could help you with your revisions. There are also additional materials under syllabus assignments and other essentials. So you've got a lot of resources already on D2L. There's a sample cover letter in the submodule for revision in the portfolio. These two things are handouts and activities, the essay level revision and sentence level revision, that I would have you do if we were in class together. So it'd be a great idea if you could take a look at these and maybe practice some of these revision strategies over the next week or so. And then a sample paper without transitions and with transitions. That's something we would have looked at in class together as well. But for now, let's start by looking at the actual assignment for the portfolio so that we're really clear on what I'm asking you to do. Again, the purpose is to show that you've mastered the course objectives on page 1 of the syllabus and also revised and improved your writing throughout the term. So revision is the major requirement here. I don't want you to think that if you're happy with your C paper, you can just resubmit that paper. You should not be submitting the same versions of the paper that I've already seen. They should be revised versions of both the short and long research paper, okay? And then the third component, it will be your cover letter, which I'll talk about in a minute. Deal breakers. To be considered for a grade of C or better, you need to have a complete portfolio. So if it's missing one or both revisions, if it's got more than just a tiny bit of accidental plagiarism, and if it's too short, if the papers are too short, your portfolio is likely to earn a D or F. So make sure that you're meeting those basic requirements. Just some reminders here about how your portfolio should look. If we were still meeting face-to-face, I would have you submit your portfolio as a folder with your printed out versions included. Now all you have to do is submit your 3 documents in the portfolio folder on D2L assignments: the cover letter, the revised short research paper, and the revised long research paper. I will be comparing your revisions to the original graded versions, which I already have electronically. The deadline is Monday of finals week at or before noon. You can definitely submit it early if your portfolio papers are in good shape and you're ready to get done with this. You can submit it as early as you like, as long as you have taken a decent amount of time to revise. However, I realize that this is a most unusual semester, and I do know that some of you are facing some obstacles this semester. So if you need an extension, let me know. I can be flexible about that. The late penalties will really only apply, you get a 24-hour grace period. So late penalties would really only apply after Tuesday if I haven't heard from you. If I've heard from you and you've asked for an extension, I'm pretty likely to just give you that extension. However, the other side of this is that I have a grading deadline to meet the following Monday, and these portfolios take me a long time to grade. That's the reason I have the portfolio. So I will ask you to try as best you can to meet the deadline so that I can meet my grading deadline. Okay. The cover letter. The cover letter is literally a letter. It should be written to me, addressed to me, and you're going to talk to me about your writing. You're going to talk to me specifically about your portfolio revisions and your strengths and your weaknesses. So here's the required content. First, your purpose in each of your revised papers. This is just to refresh my memory. So for example, you could say, in my short research paper, I was trying to convince my readers that we should eat less meat to save the environment. And then you should talk to me about what you revised in each paper. Be as specific as you can. For example, you can tell me about adding quotations to a paragraph, adding transitions, reorganizing paragraphs, those kinds of things. Just be specific. And then I want you to tell me about your strengths and weaknesses. All those self-appraisals you've been doing this semester, all that metacognitive work is going to be handy for you when you do this. You're used to thinking about your strengths and weaknesses as a writer. If there's anything else you want to tell me, feel free. Like, for example, if you want to tell me about the online learning shift and how that's going, I'm curious about that too. Okay, so I've just given you a super simple example of what a cover letter should look like, okay? The date, dear me, Dr. Koch or Professor Koch, and then at the end, you're going to type your name. You don't have to worry about an electronic signature. Just type your name after your closing. The rest of this portfolio handout you can read more carefully on your own. Here's just my reminder of the process you should be undergoing. Start with your short research paper, rereading it. Here's that bonus point assignment if you want to do it, the one that I've already mentioned. Okay. Um, it's a really good idea to plan before you start revising. So I like to make myself lists of the things that I need to do when I revise. In the revision video that I told you to watch, I talk a lot about how you should start with the big stuff, the essay level and the paragraph level first, and then work your way down to the sentence level. Don't start fixing little tiny details in sentences that you might end up cutting later. So work on the big stuff with content and organization first. Okay, so here are some suggestions. Okay, um, in this page near the end here, page 4 of the handout, I go over the portfolio grading criteria. It needs to be complete, you need to have good quality writing, and you need to have evidence of revision. Okay, so please read over this page more carefully on your own time. And then here's the portfolio grading rubric. You'll notice very similar categories of information. This is very similar to the rubrics I've used for your research papers. Okay. I just want to talk really briefly about the final grade and how it's going to be calculated. Originally, we were going to have 650 points leading into this point, and 1,000 points this semester, but I did cut your tentative works cited list. So that's why we have 25 fewer points than planned. And so technically your portfolio is worth about 36% of your grade instead of 35% of your grade. Okay. So again, read over this portfolio handout much more carefully and be sure to let me know if you have any questions because it is such an important assignment. So that's what I wanted to know about the portfolio going into these next couple of weeks. Um, we are rooting for you, Doug and I. You should know that I really like reading portfolio papers because I like seeing the progress that you make. I like seeing how you take a paper that's already solid and turn it into a really strong paper. So know that as I'm reading these revised papers, I'm going to be rooting for you, especially considering the kind of semester that we've all had together. You should be, again, really proud of the fact that you've made it this far, overcoming these strange obstacles that we've had. Let me know how I can help. You can set up a virtual conference if you'd like. You know that I'll be answering your emails. Just put lots and lots of work into these revisions these next couple of weeks, and you should be successful. Okay? Have fun, and I'll talk to you soon.